Hey there everyone, welcome back to another chilling tale, the kind of story that makes you want to keep the lights on just a little longer. Tonight, I've got a spine-tingling experience to share, so grab a blanket, settle in, and let's dive into this eerie adventure. And before we jump in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more creepy stories. Your support helps keep the scares coming. I've always been a skeptic when it comes to ghosts and spirits. I'd laugh at the ghost hunting shows, roll my eyes at the horror stories, and chalk everything up to overactive imaginations. But then, something happened that changed everything. It all started when I moved into this little rental house just outside of town. The price was ridiculously cheap, which should have been my first red flag. But hey, I was broke, and the place looked decent enough. A cozy little one-bedroom with a backyard and just enough charm to make me ignore the peeling paint and creaky floors. The first few nights were normal. I settled in, unpacked, and even joked to my friends about how I was living in a discount haunted house. But then, things started happening. Little things at first. I'd leave a light on in the kitchen and come back to find it off. Doors I'd swear I'd closed would be slightly ajar. Stuff like that. Nothing major. Just enough to make me question myself. I blamed it on being tired or distracted. You know how it is when you're in a new place. You're still getting used to everything. But one night, I woke up to the sound of whispers. At first, I thought it was just the wind outside. It's an old house, after all. And old houses make weird noises, right? Except this wasn't creaking or groaning wood. This was distinct. Faint voices like someone was having a conversation just outside my bedroom door. I froze, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst out of my chest. I told myself it was probably the TV, even though I knew I'd turned it off before going to bed. Summoning every ounce of courage I had, I crept out of bed and opened the door. Nothing. The house was completely silent. I checked every room, even peeked outside, but there was no one there. I tried to laugh it off, telling myself it was just my imagination. But the whispers came back the next night, and the night after that. Then it got worse. One evening I was sitting on the couch scrolling through my phone when I heard a loud thud from the bedroom. It sounded like something heavy had fallen. I rushed in, expecting to find my bookshelf toppled over or something, but everything was exactly where it should be, except for one thing. The mirror on the wall had a handprint on it, a smudged, pale handprint that was way too big to be mine. I just stood there, staring at it, my mind racing. I hadn't touched the mirror. I hadn't even been near it. That's when I started feeling it, the presence. You know how when someone walks into a room, you can just feel them there? That's what it was like, except no one was there. Sometimes I'd feel it behind me, like someone was standing just over my shoulder. Other times, it was in the corner of the room, watching. I'd turn around, and of course, there'd be nothing. But I knew I wasn't alone. The breaking point came about a week later. I was in bed trying to sleep when I felt the mattress shift, like someone had just sat down. My whole body went rigid. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to see whatever it was. But I couldn't stop myself. Slowly, I turned my head, and there it was. A figure sitting at the edge of my bed, pale, with hollow eyes that seemed to sink into its face. It didn't move, didn't make a sound. It just sat there staring at me. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I just lay there, paralyzed, as it slowly leaned closer, and then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it was gone, like it had never been there. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I packed up my stuff and got the hell out of there. I didn't care about the lease or the deposit. I just needed to leave. I crashed at a friend's place for a while, and when I told them what happened, they didn't believe me. Honestly, I don't blame them. If I hadn't lived it, I wouldn't believe it either. It's been a few months now, and I haven't had any more experiences. But sometimes, late at night, I'll feel that same presence, like someone's watching me. I tell myself it's just paranoia, but deep down, I know better. Whatever it was, it's still out there, and I have a feeling it's not done with me yet. You ever get that weird feeling when you're alone in the bathroom and for no reason you avoid looking directly into the mirror? Like some deep instinct is warning you not to? Yeah, I ignored that once. And I'll never do it again. This happened about 2 years ago. I'd just moved into this old apartment downtown. It wasn't anything special. Crappy carpet, leaky faucets. But hey, it was cheap. The bathroom, though, it had this huge mirror above the sink. The kind that spans the whole wall. At first I thought it was cool, but it started to creep me out pretty quickly. It began small. Sometimes I'd catch something in my reflection that didn't quite match up, like I'd move my head, but for a split second, it felt like my reflection didn't follow at the exact same time, just a fraction of a second behind me. I told myself it was just my imagination, a trick of the light or something. Then, one night, things got weird. I was brushing my teeth before bed, same routine as always. I spat out the toothpaste and glanced up at the mirror. For a second, I froze. My reflection was smiling, but I wasn't. It wasn't a normal smile either. It was this wide, creepy grin, way too big for my face, like my jaw was unhinged or something. And the eyes, they weren't mine. They were darker, almost hollow. I stumbled back, heart racing, but when I looked again, it was just me. Normal, no creepy grin. I even waved my hand like an idiot to make sure it was following me. And yeah, everything looked fine. I tried to laugh it off, told myself I was just tired, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing these faint whispers, like someone was calling my name, but it wasn't coming from the hallway or the neighbors. It was coming from the bathroom. By the third night, I was officially freaked out. I started avoiding the mirror altogether, brushing my teeth while staring at the floor, shaving without looking up. But the whispers? They kept getting louder. Then came the night I made the worst mistake of my life. I woke up around 3 a.m., the classic horror movie hour, right? My throat was dry, so I went to get some water. On my way back to bed, I felt this pull, like something was drawing me toward the bathroom. I stood in the doorway, staring at that damn mirror. I don't even know why. I just felt like I had to look. My brain was screaming at me not to, but my feet kept moving. When I finally looked up, my reflection was already waiting for me. It wasn't moving like me this time. It was standing still, staring right at me with that awful, stretched-out grin. Its head tilted to the side, and its hand, my hand, lifted and beckoned me closer. And then it spoke. Its voice wasn't mine. It was layered, like 100 voices speaking at once, all whispering the same words. Come closer. Let me out. I don't know what came over me, but I panicked. I grabbed the nearest thing, a bottle of mouthwash, and chucked it at the mirror. The glass shattered into a million pieces, and for a split second, I swear I saw something moving in the shards, like shadows slipping away. I didn't sleep that night. Hell, I didn't even stay in the apartment. I packed a bag and crashed on a friend's couch for a few days. When I finally worked up the nerve to go back, the bathroom mirror was gone, completely removed, like it had never been there. I asked my landlord about it, and he got this weird look on his face. He told me the last tenant insisted it be taken out too, but he never said why. I moved out a month later, and now I don't keep mirrors in my house at all, not a single one. So, yeah, if you ever feel that weird instinct to avoid looking in a mirror, trust it. You never know what might be staring back.